Hey, everybody. Your designers are here.
I'm Anita at Cedar Hill Farmhouse.
And I'm Yvonne at Stone Gable.
And I'm Kelly at Myself at Home. And we have tips and tricks and decorating advice for you today. So let's get started.
Today is episode 204. Something is missing. Figure it out.
Oh, today's show notes can be found at decoratingtipsandtricks.com/204. So I want to know what's missing.
Yeah, we're going to teach you how to figure it out today.
Mm-hmm. And we're talking, of course, about decor.
Exactly. I get a lot of people who say to me, or in person or in an email, there's just, I don't know. I thought my house looked good, but there's just something missing. It's just not, it just hasn't hit the mark. I'm close, but what is missing? So how do we figure that out? How do we help our listeners, readers, friends, relatives, countrymen? How do we help them figure out what is missing and how they can fix it in an easy way?
And I think this is a very common dilemma. So if you have a room that something's off, or you think, gosh, what is it what am I missing here? What is missing in this room? You are not alone, because I know that I've said that, and I can probably bet Kelly and Anita have said that too on several occasions.
Yeah.
So we're going to give you some helpful hints to think about when you're looking at a room and going like, it's missing the mark. What is it? Or how could I make this room better? So today's the day that we're going to give you all kinds of tips and things to look at to figure out what is missing in your decor. All right. I'd like to say this, and I'm going to give another shout out. This was Anita's best ever. Like we call it the tip of the century. Take a picture of the room. Definitely, with smartphones and things, take several pictures of the room and don't look at your room, look at the pictures, because I think pictures can it's like having a fresh eye. It gives you a different perspective for some reason. And sometimes you can see what it is that's standing out or not working like a sore thumb.
I think that's great advice, and
it's a good place to start, Anita.
Yes. And looking at photos that people send, I can tell you one thing that I see missing. That's probably the thing that I see missing the most often.
Ooh, what is that? Give us a hint, or do you want to just tell?
Well, it has to do with size. And the thing is properly scaled, properly sized accessories. That is what I see missing. So here's what happens. So let's say it's a mantle, and somebody puts a couple things there, and they say something's missing. Something is not right. And so they don't know what's not right, but they think, you know what? It feels not full. So rather than switching the things out, they're too small. Rather than switching them out for something larger, they keep adding more little things.
Yes. Big no.
Oh my gosh, you're so right.
No.
And I didn't even have that on my list. My goodness.
So at some point, then you have a clutter kind of, thing going on. There's too much there. And then it still doesn't look right, but it's kind of like, now what do you do? So really look at the scale of your items, because I think that's what's missing often is the properly sized item. And here's a little secret of mine. When I go shopping, it kind of reminds me of when I was a kid, and we would go out to eat. And when they would ask us what size ice cream cone we wanted, we always said large. I thought you were going to, big, the biggest one you have.
Yeah.
And that is the same approach I take with accessories. If there are three sizes, I always get the largest one, because the smallest one usually is too small. And sometimes the medium is too small as well. You really wanted to have some presence, and think about it. You're putting it on a mantle that's 5 feet long, or perhaps on a buffet that's 4 feet long or 5 feet long. Think about it. If you have something on there that's 2 inches tall, it's going to be dwarfed.
And so think of this, larger and less.
Right. So you want something more like maybe 10 inches or 2 feet tall.
Right.
And then just fewer things. And then if you have lamps, they're, make sure that they're sized properly too. But usually they're not going to be, 3 inches tall or something. So, so that's my first tip.
That is ding, ding, another really fabulous tip, Anita. And that is such a common mistake. And when some of my clients send me pictures of their house and ask me, what is it? And I think there's sometimes a lack of cohesiveness.
Oh, yes. I think that happens. I think that's the hardest thing to do, though, is to have this cohesiveness, to pull a room together, because a lot of people are good at just picking out beautiful things, but then bringing it all together, that's a different skill set, a more, elevated skill set.
But I think the buzzword for that is to curate your look and give it a curated look. That just means looks like it's been collected on purpose. You have a purpose for everything that you put there. Everything goes together. But I always want to tell my clients, oh yeah, that's a lack of cohesiveness. They have a great sofa. They have, really neat lamps. They have a rug that doesn't belong there. That things just don't go together. And it's not that they have a problem with finding lovely things. They have a problem with finding lovely things that go together. And I think that you have to have always, when you are putting something into a room, do it purposefully. Don't just because you need a side table, throw any old side table in, because that, next to a chair, next to a sofa, that's not going to work. So you want to make sure you have the proper size, the proper scale, that it works, and all the furniture gets along very friendly and they complement each other. And that's so important.
Pesto pork chops over Parmesan polenta. Not that easy to say, but oh so easy to make with Green Chef. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit company for eating well, and we have such a great deal for you. You're going to save $250. Listen on for the details on that. Green Chef makes eating well easy for any lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat more balanced meals. We're getting into the busy holiday season, so it's a perfect time to have Green Chef help you out. Let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season with their chef-crafted, nutritionist-approved recipes featuring fresh ingredients and nothing artificial. And you know what? You don't have to lose track of your healthy eating habits during the holidays. Every Green Chef customer gets a free session with their registered dietitians who will walk you through how to make clean eating work for you. So sign up for your free session and start on the road towards better health today. And that deal I want to tell you about, visit greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. So that's greenchef.com/DTT250 and use the code DTT250 for $250 off your order. Green Chef is a delicious delight any time of year, but especially during the holidays. What a wonderful vision to behold as the Green Chef boxes on your doorstep. Green Chef is the #1 meal kit for eating well. And it makes eating well so easy with plans to fit every lifestyle, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, vegetarian, gluten-free, or just looking to eat a more balanced diet. So let Green Chef take the work out of eating clean this holiday season. And if you've got guests coming, shop Green Bundles. They're now available at the Green Market. It's your one-stop shop for nutritious grab-and-go breakfasts, including vegan options, brunch kits, wholesome lunches, ready-to-eat snacks, veggie sides, and more. You can feel your best this December and do your best with Green Chef because they offset 100% of the delivery emissions as well as 100% of the plastic in every box. Go to greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT and get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months. greenchef.com/60DTT and use the code 60DTT to get 60% off plus 20% off your next 2 months.
I'm an overstuffer. I can put so much stuff into a room. And I think that we have to keep in mind that rooms need breathing space.
Good point. Yeah, when something's missing, you think of a something. Maybe it's a non-thing.
That's right.
Absolutely.
White space. Yeah, you need those empty spaces because, again, if you don't have them, the room is going to feel cluttered, overwhelming, and kind of closed in. So you want the room to breathe.
Yeah, a lot of us make the mistake of we put too many things in a room. So if you think something's missing, maybe white space is missing and you should take out a few pieces and see how that looks.
These are such good points. I didn't have either of these mind-blowing points that the two of you have made on my list at all. And I thought, wow, I gave this a lot of thought. So something I do have on my list is I often see rooms where everything is low. It's either eye level, and my eyes are pretty low to the ground, 5.5 feet. What am I? 5'3" 5'2"? Oh, 5'3.5" needed to
I doubt it, but okay.
I'm not much taller than you are.
I stand very tall for a small person. But anyway, low, so eye level or below, like the sofa line, then the coffee table, then maybe there's a rug, and they might have something on the wall, but maybe it's not hung right. But even hanging a piece of art or something on the wall, to my mind, it's not up high enough. You're only taking advantage then of the bottom half of the room, right? Bring your eye up, whether that means having a standing lamp or a standing planter with maybe a fern on it or something, or bringing a curtain rod as high as possible. Or if curtains are not working or drapery is not working because of the configuration of your window, maybe creating a cornice or putting some sort of fabric valance on top. Bringing your eye up is very important in a room. And sometimes it just looks like you almost feel like you're kind of crouched, right? Because you're looking and everything's just low.
So it's on one visual plane.
Yeah, it's one visual plane. Absolutely right.
Something else that rooms sometimes are missing is personality, because the owners are kind of focused on, listen, we do this all the time. We imitate other people. We all do it. And I think it's a great thing to do. This is how we learn, by kind of seeing things done somewhere else and doing that.
That's right.
While you're doing that, you still want to incorporate your own personality into your house. Because you want it to be personalized. So even if you're copying something else, add that in. I think that's really missing if you don't do it. And again, it's going to feel like something's missing. It feels too maybe generic. So if you like something in particular, for example, I love dishes. So one of the things that I did was put plate racks on either side of the windows in my breakfast room. So, and then a lot of glass doors in my kitchen so that you could see the dishes in there. So think about what it is that you love and how you can really add that to a room. Not only will it make the room a place more so that you want to be, but it's going to infuse personality. And I think people will love coming to your house. I know when I see somebody's personality in a house, I love it. Even if it isn't my particular style, I thoroughly enjoy seeing something unique, new, and different.
That's a good way to put that, Anita. Here's another thing, and this is like a secret weapon. It's like the decorating secret weapon, so lean in. And I think people don't think about using the secret weapon, and that is texture.
Oh, yes.
And the three of us love texture.
We do.
And I think sometimes you need to be purposeful about adding it. What is nubby? What is smooth? What is shiny? What is bumpy? There's, just putting lots of textures, because your eye, although you may go like, oh, I love the bumpiness of that sisal rug, your eye is seeing it and your brain is saying it, even though, it may be very subliminal. But it can make such a difference in your room. So look at your room with a critical eye, or take a picture of it and think to yourself, what kind of texture do I have in this room? And is there enough? And is it working?
I love that you used shiny as a texture as well, because I think people don't think of that. Whether it be mercury glass or silver
or a mirror
or something, or a mirror, that could be textural as well. And so that's a really good thing to think about. Is when you say the word texture, sometimes people might just think a chunky throw or a pillow or something, or a nubby couch. Good point. And speaking of mirror, I think every room should have a mirror.
Yes, I do.
For sure. In fact, I think every room could probably handle more than one mirror. And it's not for, gazing upon thyself necessarily, although sometimes you want to take a quick check before you leave the house. But it does so much. It being a mirror, it does so much for a room and will open up your space in such a way that other than installing a window, you really can't achieve that with any other type of decor.
It adds light as well.
Yes.
And light bounces off a mirror and it opens things up and brings in some light. So having a mirror, that might be what is missing in your room. What about?
Yes. And with all of this light, sorry, did you want to go
right ahead? Go ahead, Nita.
So with all this light, why not add some plants? I mean, because something growing, something alive is something you really want to add to your room. I believe that it adds this feeling of life and freshness. And so I like bringing the outside in as much as I can. So I think it's fun to have some plants. I have a few that are struggling because I forgot to water them, but I'm trying my best. No, the ivy's fine because I have it under a cloche.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I have a fern I think it's doing much better. I gave it a good refresh. So yeah, they're doing fine. But the lavender's outside for some fresh air and water.
Are they on the rotation now?
I'm doing a bit of
going outside
yes.
and then
coming
taking turns coming back inside.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love
it's like
that.
the fresh air fund for the plants.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Some of them are vacationing
you
out in the
must have
sun
a
right
spreadsheet
now.
for that. I mean, how could you even remember? Whose turn was it?
Or just big like numbers on each one. Okay, plant number 1, you're this week. I have another very subtle one, but I think this makes a difference. In your room, do you have like shapes going on? I would say, if you have a round mirror, you want to have maybe 2 other round things in your room, maybe a round, small, side table next to a chair and a round tray. If you have like shaped objects, it brings, again, we're using that word, cohesiveness into your room. So it's very subtle, but it makes a big difference.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I have a big round clock in my living room, and I usually keep a big round basket with a vignette in it on my rectangular coffee table. And I was thinking about adding like we have a tray that sits on legs. So it's like a small end table, but it doesn't carry a lot of visual weight. And I thought, that might be great in the living room because I think I might add that.
Great idea. Something else that might be missing, and we've talked about this on another episode, is symmetry. I mean, we've talked about the need for symmetry and that even asymmetry is a type of symmetry. So think about the symmetry, think about the balance. Is there balance in the room? Is balance missing? So if all the tall furniture is on one side and the short furniture is on the other side, it's not going to feel balanced. And if you have one color on one side and a different color on the other side, it's the same thing. You want to mix that up. You want everything to feel like it goes together, and you want that some balance.
And Anita, one way to achieve that, if you I have a curio, which is very tall in my family room, and I don't have another big, tall piece other than I've got built my focal point, which is my fireplace and built-in bookshelves. So I used art on the other side of the room, and it's big and tall. So it balances it. So your eye's not going, there's not a piece of furniture that's big, but yet there's something on the wall that takes up that visual space. So
right,
Yvonne,
I think
that's a really way to do balance.
An excellent tip there. So if you have something tall and you don't have another tall piece of furniture to balance it, try using a tall piece of artwork that'll be about the same size as that piece of furniture, the other piece of furniture that you're wanting to balance.
That is such a good trick because I think people's rooms are off balance, and that's really the quintessential, something's just not right. And, right away I think about, is my room balanced?
Don't you just love a great recommendation from a friend? Well, we're delighted to be recommending these companies and their wonderful products to you today. And let them know your friends at DTT sent you. Go ahead, clean out your closet. Then head straight to Quince. I love every item Quince offers, from wardrobe to decor, and I can really recommend their Ultra Stretch Super Wide Leg Pant at $49.90. The price is unbeatable, and the look is so flattering. It keeps you in on top and flares out of the bottom. Everything feels right with Quince. The price, the quality, and the sustainability. Quince offers a range of luxury wardrobe and home goods at prices within reach. And like Quince's clothing, their home goods are priced 50 to 80% less than similar brands. Quince only works with factories that use safe, ethical, and responsible manufacturing practices, along with premium fabrics and finishes. Once you've cleaned out your closet and refreshed with Quince, you can also add something to your home decor. So give your wardrobe and your home the refresh it needs with Quince. Go to quince.com/DTT to get free shipping and 365-day returns on your next order. That's Quince, QUINCE.com/DTT for free shipping and 365-day returns. Quince.com/DTT. And let me know how you love those pants. Inevitably, with the new year come wellness goals. One very effective and easy-to-reach goal is to add Dose to your wellness regime. Dose is expertly formulated organic wellness shots that support your liver in one delicious drink. Formulated with ingredients clinically shown to support liver health: potent turmeric, milk thistle, and ginger. There's 0 sugar and 0 calories. Did you know that your liver performs over 500 special functions? Since I learned all that my liver is doing, I started with Dose to support all those vital functions. I take a shot of refreshing Dose 2 times per week to combat everyday toxins from food, meds, alcohol, and unhealthy air. Since starting with Dose about a month ago, I am definitely feeling an overall improvement in my health. So if you want to give Dose a shot and invest in your health like I have, Dose is offering DTT listeners 15% off your first order, plus an additional 15% off if you subscribe for a monthly delivery. That's 30% off your first order. So go to dosedaily.co/DTT and use the code DTT. That's dosedaily.co.co/DTT and use the code DTT.
I had said something about a focal point of my family room, which was my fireplace. Some people, their focal points fight. Like, you have to look at your room and find one focal point. Now, some people can do like another small focal point, but I think that takes a lot of decor savvy. So just make sure that you know what your focal point is, and nothing else is fighting that for first place that your eye is going to rest. A focal point is something that when you walk into the room, it's usually the first thing that catches your eye. So like when you walk into my family room, it's definitely the fireplace with the bookshelves and cabinets on either side. So I don't want anything in front of that that's going to fight that. So you want to be looking at a clean, okay, this is so obvious focal point. So that's what might be missing in your room.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's really true.
Yeah.
The fighting focal points is not a good thing.
Yeah. And we're doing it the final touches of our master bedroom. It's just been such a long process, but my bedroom is way not feng shui, and our focal point used to be the bed, but we switched walls, which actually works better. And everybody who comes up to the bedroom says, "Oh, I really like this arrangement better." And my comment is, it is not feng shui because you do not see my bed when you open the door. But so I have this wall, and I thought, the focal point has to be on that wall because that's the first thing. Right now, it's a blank wall, but I'm going to be looking for a huge armoire, and I'm going to repaint it and redo it and, put something on top of it and put a basket with a big plant beside it. So that does become a focal point. So you don't walk into the room and go like, "Oh, this room looks disjointed," right. Or, what am I supposed to be looking at?
Yeah. I think another thing, especially for people who really want to up their decor game, and so they're really looking at their rooms critically. So, maybe not the casual observer may not think there's absolutely anything missing from your room. They may think it's absolutely perfect, but because you are really a decorator and you really love it and you really want to hone it, think about layering. That's sometimes something people forget. You know, they get a rug, but maybe you should have 2 rugs, and maybe you should layer them on top of each other. And maybe you have a pillow, but maybe it would benefit from a lumbar in front of it.
Maybe you should have 3.
Maybe you should
and
have
a
3.
throw behind it.
Yeah. And, you know, it doesn't have to be on every single surface where you're layering and layering and layering. I so agree with what Anita said when we started out today, which is sometimes there's just too much and you're putting too many little things. Yep. So, you know, you have to, again, look at it critically. Maybe what you do is the Coco Chanel it, put it all in, and then start pulling it back out. You know, so you say, oh, I'm going to layer. I'm going to get I'm going to do a jute, and I'm going to put hide on top of it. And then I'm going to try a throw over here. And then I'm going to have a 20 by 20 pillow. And in front of it, I'm going to put, a 10 by 20. I'm going to try that. And you build the layers. And then if it feels like too much and people are perched on the end of the chairs because there's so many pillows, then you're going to want to pull away. But you can do, I'm saying when I say the Coco Chanel, how she said, you put it all on and then you take some pieces off before you leave the house.
I was tracking with you.
Yeah. Okay. Stick with me. So that's a way to really up your game. And that might be the answer to your, hey, something is missing here. What am I, what is this room lacking? Maybe even something behind the sofa, a kiln or something, depending on what your look is, or a linen throw that you don't necessarily toss, but maybe you lay out. Maybe you just need another layer somewhere. So think about that.
I am so pro layering because I think it does. I think the better you become familiar and comfortable with layering, the prettier your home will look. Definitely. I think one other thing is to get friendly with Pinterest. I think Pinterest is a really great place to see some really fabulous designs. And if there's a room you just absolutely love, study that room, go to the website, look, maybe they'll have other angles of that, and really look at the rooms, look at them critically. What is it about this room that you love so much? And, ask yourself, is it the shapes? Is it the texture? Is it the layering? Is it the pattern? Is it the furniture and scale? Is that the focal point? Ask yourself, is it because it has breathing space? Ask yourself all these questions. And literally, sometimes I print things out and then write all over them, which will help you get a decorator's eye. I think that's so important. And then transfer what you love about that. Okay, how can I make this work in my room that happens to be missing something? I think that's such a smart thing to do, because the more you look at beautiful design that you love, the more you'll be able to define your style, the things that you like, that you want in your house. And then you can actually transfer that to a real life room in your house.
I think those are good points, Siobhan, and that was well said. So I think these are a lot of things to think about, some things that might be missing in your room. So take some pictures of your room while you're listening to the podcast, or I guess now you've finished it. But anyway, go take some pictures now while it's fresh in your mind and see if there's anything missing in your room. And remember, we're here to inspire you to create a beautiful home. Until next time.
Hey everybody, we want to thank you so much for listening to Decorating Tips and Tricks. And we want to make it even easier for you to listen. And it's easier if you subscribe. You just click the subscribe button on our website, www.decoratingtipsandtricks.com, or you can subscribe through Apple Podcast or any of your favorite podcast listeners. When you subscribe, DTT comes free right to you 3 days a week. So until next time.